To be honest, I want to play with you. I just feel as though I can't keep up. I can't give you a riveting time or a challenge. And I don't do well with voice channels. So it's not as though you can give me advice. I literally blocked for 30 minutes the last time we played, and it really made me feel hopeless. Chat, how do I become a better player who can vaguely play this game? I have 1,000 hours and play like a 4-6 player. I don't have defense. I am incapable of learning. I do not have the skills to adapt, or change anything in my game plan for that matter. Yes, you do. Nuh-uh. I've tried everything. I fail at everything. I do that even outside of Strive. I have long lost all self-esteem, which isn't necessarily helpful for Strive either. We've all had someone like this in our fighting game discords. Someone who's relatively new to the genre, who is really passionate about it, and wants to be good, but doesn't exactly have the time nor the execution to back up their passion. So eventually, after some time of not really seeing that typical improvement, they tend to get a little on the downer side when it comes to how they feel about themselves in their fighting game. Suddenly, they ask for some advice. How do I improve? How do I deal with this option? How do I do this thing? And you, someone who wants to have more people get into fighting games, go out of their way to give them the advice that they're looking for, only to be met with something like this. Well, that was kind of a waste of time. I gave them what they wanted, and they kind of just ignored it to complain about how bad they are at the fighting game anyway. I don't understand. What makes someone say something like this? What makes someone ask for advice but then turn around and immediately say that the advice that they just got doesn't matter? I would like to introduce you to a frame of mind that is all too common in fighting games, unfortunately, and that is nihilism. The definition of nihilism is as follows. Nihilism is the philosophical perspective that rejects the existence of objective meaning, truth, and value, suggesting that life is ultimately meaningless. It encompasses various forms, including existential nihilism, which denies inherent meaning of life, and moral nihilism, which rejects the existence of objective moral truths. How this pertains to fighting games is pretty straightforward. Most of the time, if not all of the time, with a fighting game nihilist, is that 9 times out of 10, they believe that no progress will ever meaningfully be made solely off of the fact that tech skill can either be too physically demanding or even outright impossible to perform because of other circumstances, such as physical circumstances or overall just mental circumstances. Nihilism is something that not only can thrive in the fighting game community, it festers in it. Fighting games tend to be incredibly introspective, causing you to, wrongly I might add, attach your progress to the game like you would any other life trial. So when you fail at something you actually want to be good at, it can be that much more toxic to your mental health, leading you to these circumstances where you lend a hand and ask for advice only to completely shut it down when that advice is just, you gotta practice the game more. Leading down this path of least resistance, allowing you to be able to simply write it off as this impossible task that only the select few can have, and you, unfortunately, by some magical grace of God, are the only person on Earth who can't perform this specific task. Now, to say that complaining about being bad at a fighting game or complaining about something being hard in a fighting game immediately makes you some miserable nihilist isn't true in the slightest. I think that it's actually perfectly healthy to be able to complain and bitch and moan about things you don't like about fighting games or what's hard about fighting games, because it encourages others around you to be able to assist you. The problem is when you are so incredibly entrenched in this depressive episode, this nihilistic perspective, that it begins to affect others around you that just want to help you out of that nihilistic perspective. I don't subscribe to the idea that nihilism is an actual frame of mind that people can follow. In my humble opinion, I believe that nihilism is a simple flash in the pan that exploits a prolonged amount of failures and circumstances that lead to a depressive episode. I genuinely think that nihilism can most easily be obtained as a frame of mind while playing fighting games, while competing in anything, while doing anything that causes you to have any form of introspection. This is where the video will start to get a little foggy because, unfortunately, there is no concrete answer to this. This starts to jump into a little bit of psychology more than philosophy, and I am nowhere near qualified to be able to talk about the solutions to this problem. However, I will recommend some things that might actually be able to assist you in this very heavy-handed topic. Again, logically speaking, the nihilistic views that you are currently having about the game you're playing, 100% is just, like I said earlier, a flash in the pan, a moment. You certainly only feel this now. In order to be able to avoid continuously feeling this, I think taking the advice of some of the things that people are saying will stop you from going down and repeating the same cycle over and over again. I see so many people that have this frame of mind that cause them to feel this way, that they feel inadequate about the way that they play fighting games, that they'll never improve, that they'll never attempt to learn because there's no point in learning, because they specifically as a person suck ass at everything, even outside of life, which is another topic even outside of fighting games, which is another topic entirely, right? I think that because these games are so introspective, you tend to bring a lot of that outside baggage into the game with you. And because of that, you also bring it into the discords where that game is involved, or leading your calls for advice on the fighting game start to transform into something like cries for help in life in general. There are three things that I would like all of you to do if so far in the video it seems to describe you as a person. Number one, I see so many people fall down this rabbit hole consistently, and over and over again they attempt to take the advice, come back 3 weeks later and have a really shitty experience, and let that shitty experience cause them to fall deep and deeper into this fighting game depressive loop, right? I think that actually legitimately following the advice of the person that is attempting to help you is going to be your best case scenario. I understand that is there's a reason that this is the first piece of advice. It's because it's incredibly obvious, but you will be surprised how many people genuinely only ask for the advice to make themselves feel better about the shitty moment. To know that someone heard you and wants to help you and believes in you is an incredibly comforting thing all on its own. And that the fact that that thing right there, that moment, made you feel a little bit better, it could possibly dissuade you from actually following the advice of the person. They are going out of their way to aid you. The least you can do is go out of your way to attempt to follow their advice. Number two, of course, is take a break. If you want to know how to take a break, you can look at a previous episode where I go over this very topic. But again, separating yourself from the game for a little while can help a lot. I'm not going to go too in-depth about it because that video goes over everything that I could possibly give you for advice on that. But number three is probably the most important. I think since fighting games are such an intimate activity with the individual, allowing you to not be able to ever avoid that level of introspection, the inevitability of introspection, it causes a lot of people to bring all of their outside baggage into the game, including some people that unfortunately have mental illnesses. It could be depression, mood disorders, whatever. I'm not qualified to be talking about this at all, so I'm not going to go too much into detail of it. But seeking therapy could legitimately help you improve in fighting games. A lot of fighting games is mental, and if your mental health is poor, your fighting game performance could also follow suit. So seeking actual mental help could genuinely improve not only just your life, but your life inside fighting games as well. I know this topic is incredibly heavy-handed, and again, I've probably fucked up somewhere along the way, oversimplifying some frames of mind and different aspects of it, but it is incredibly important that you take care of yourself. anything to improve your mental health will immediately also improve your fighting game experience, whether that be to actually improve at the fighting game or to just be able to have fun with it in the first place. Please, please, please know that improving you is just as important as improving your tech skill. Go to the gym, go to therapy, go outside every once in a while, step away from the game, and once you come back, you could be stronger than ever. I believe in you. Thank you for watching, and I hope I made you think today.